Come fly with me, far beyond the density, gazing down upon the matrix where you are free to see the cage, a place to which you refuse to be bound, because your mind, your soul, was always meant to soar with the eagles. Welcome to Beyond the Matrix.
Greetings, everybody. It's me, Patricia Cori. I'm trying for a third time to get the program started because I have dogs in the background. So, let's hope that they haven't decided that this is the moment to have a dog fest. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Matrix, the program that asks you to think outside the box. And, I just want to, before I bring on my wonderful guest, Mike Oram, I want to just thank everybody for all your good wishes. I know a lot of you have been concerned about where I've been. And where I've been, it has been a difficult place of being food poisoned, sprained ankle, just a bunch of silliness. And that's why I've been gone for actually a month now, but I'm finally back and feeling better and ready to roll. So thank you for tuning in. And to celebrate this auspicious occasion, which is after 1 month coming back, I have back with me the wonderful Mike Oram, who is now, this is his third appearance on my show, and there's a wonderful spiritual synergy between us. I think we come from the same star system or thereabouts, and we both picked it up right away. So it's been a wonderful discovery for me personally to know Mike, as well as to bring in his wisdom. So here he is. Hello, my dear Mike. Let me get you here into the gallery. There you are. How are you?
Yes, I'm very well, and I'm so pleased to hear that you are now on the road to recovery.
Thank you. It's been a long road. It's been a highway.
Yes, it's
thank you very
pretty
much.
bad.
So, okay, Mike, we have a lot to talk about because, first of all, we left off with the promise to delve more deeply into the next phase of your vast experience. And then I want to draw upon that experience to talk about the stage that seems to be setting on the UFO/ET/disclosure, discovery, false flag, call it what you want. There's a lot going on, as I'm sure you're well aware, and I'd like for us to talk about that too, okay?
Okay.
So let's start, we were going to be talking about your encounters with light beings. We talked about your encounter with Talos. There seemed to be something particular that you wanted to bring up in that aspect of your journey.
Yes. As we move forward and we're getting more towards, really for some of us, it's probably already been activated, the ascension progress of raising our frequencies, that my experience with the golden funnel and the light beings and the symbols that they gave me, and an interesting reading of these symbols by a very well-known medium. They seem to fit into where we are going at the moment. And also, while I was searching through my notes only a few days ago, it's vast boxfuls of notes over 60 years, I came across something that I call a real dream. I mean, it's nothing like a dream. It's some sort of experience on another part of the consciousness. And I'd totally forgotten about this experience, but it happened in 2012. And I found this in one of my boxes of notes, and I reread it, and it seems to fit in. It's all about a battle in the mind of not just getting back our freedom, but by removing this heavy, dark energy from the controllers and from this planet. And this was in 2012, but reading it now, and in the light of where we are now, especially with the upgrade into this situation we're finding ourselves in with the present flu-like bug. It seems to fit in very well as I think we are reaching the finality of this battle of light over dark. And that is something I might perhaps, with your permission, it's a couple of pages, just read that later on. But the first thing was really this golden funnel and connecting with the light beings, because I've had, down the years, I've had many, I'll just get a couple of notes here. I've had many experiences. Now, this is something that is, it's like in the fabric, I think, of reality itself here and elsewhere. And this is the what I call this Christ-like consciousness, this being that can appear for me. It sometimes comes across as quite masculine, but in a sensitive, soft way. But it can also come across as a very feminine energy. And there was a couple of experiences that I had. I had an experience back up here in the north of England in the 1990s. Now, lots of these experiences with this Christ-like consciousness, I always write. I seem to have a feeling that I have to write a poem about each experience. And also, when I was in Nevada at the conference in 2004, and I met, which is a dear friend of mine now, Mary Rodwell, and I took part in her experiences group, but also I asked her while she was there if she would give me a regression to look into something. And it was a really very symbolic, a lot of these things seem to be quite symbolic experience I had, which involved, oddly enough, a Pegasus stroke unicorn grey horse that I got on the back of and went to this like etheric type turreted castle in the sky. And I went into this huge room where there was thousands upon thousands of ancient leather, dusty books on shelves. And right in the top left-hand corner, I had to get on the top of a high ladder. I could see that there was one book, the spine was glowing. And I pulled that down and I was looking through the pages, and there were 4 images on each page, but each page with these 4 images was 4 different books of somebody's life. It was like the Akashic records. Mm-hmm. And as I was turning over the pages in this book, out of these 4 images, there was one in the top left-hand corner that glowed. And I'll leave that there for now. But after looking at this book, again, this Christ-like consciousness, sometimes a figure appears like a Jesus type figure, which I think is in our psyche. I think that's where it must come from. And he said a few words to me there, and it's always quite emotional. But this is connecting to this one with this real dream, with this massive battle against the dark energy. Might well be worth going into a little bit later, because I do think it's quite relevant to where we're finding ourselves at the moment.
Can you synopsize it for us rather than reading the whole 2 pages?
I could do. I mean, it's heavily symbolic, and it's to do with the battle in the mind. I might be able to see it down quickly in my head. But the funnel, perhaps a funnel thing with the light beings is probably where it all started, with these with these symbols that were given to me, and the light beings told me that the information in these symbols would be released to me at a future time, and it would either be released by them or released through my higher self. The psychic. Sorry?
And have they been? Have you interpreted them?
No, I cannot interpret them, not at the moment. But a friend of mine took the symbols. He put them inside a sealed brown envelope. He didn't tell this medium, who is known for years, but he said she is an excellent psychic lady. And he asked her what she could pick up by just handing to her this brown envelope with the symbols unseen inside. And it's quite interesting what she picked up about these symbols.
Well,
if you would like me to sort of quickly go through.
I'm having a difficult time understanding the relevance of the symbols to the discussion of your ET contact. In other words, I'm sort of stuck here in as far as why this is coming up now. Where does this fit in?
I think it's coming up now because I think for me personally, and for many people on this planet, we are getting to a point where we are facing this final battle. And I think these symbols, for me personally, are a part of it.
Okay. So the symbols represent some message of some higher beings that are helping us to understand, or hopefully helping you to understand what's ahead, what's coming, what we're going
through. Yes. I mean, the medium said to me, these I could read you very quickly what she said. Won't take long. This was in this was on the Isle of Wight in England in 2007. But he handed over these symbols sealed inside an envelope, and as soon as the lady picked it up, she said he recorded this at the time. She said, "Oh wow, oh this is weird." She said, "Every time I link into it, it makes me want to fall over." And she said, there's a lot of stagnant energy around this, like dead energy. It wants waking back up. She said, it's like empty, like dust on the moon, and it needs bringing back to life. She said, it's ancient, and it could be symbolic of symbols needing to be brought back to life. And she said, I'm picking up words that I do not understand. Letters, there's healing involved with this, definitely. She said her hands had gone very hot, the palms of her hands. She said, but it's specific healing, specific things. And then she said, I know this is really outlandish, but I've been given Area 51. And she said, there's material attached to it also, but not material that we would know. Now, I could tell you about that in a minute, because Robert Salla was telling me about my symbols have been seen on some of the little cross members of the craft that came out of Roswell, which is on metal.
That's exciting.
Yes, she said, I've been given the most brilliant white light with this also. And she said, I've been given the word monster. And then she said, right, I'm now going into a tunnel. It's a tunnel that goes upwards. Now, this is what I would talk about in a moment, of the golden funnel that came down from the sky. So it would have been going upwards. And she said, I'm going to tell you now that this needs to go into the right hands, because falling into the wrong hands is dangerous. And my friend, he suddenly said to her, oh God, he said, it's going to be in a book in September. This was back in 2007. She said, right, well, these words are very important. And he said, what more important than you can imagine? She said, yes, but in the wrong hands, they will be dangerous. There needs to be knowledge and understanding going alongside this. And my friend said, well, it'll take a lot of figuring out. She said, it will do, but you'll get there. But as I'm saying that, my hands have just gone dead. And she said, whoever is working around this needs protecting. The way to get the understanding of this is to be in a total state of nothingness. The person who has the knowledge of this needs to go into a state of nothingness, the void, when you're not thinking or feeling or having any type of anything. And he said, my friend said, what, like a form of meditation? She said, no, deeper than that, to just be nothingness, but they need protection around this person. He cannot do it on his own. It's going to take time. It's not something that will happen in 5 minutes. And she said, I will also say that the full knowledge, the full information is not here. This is only one part. It needs to be done. The whole thing has got really, really hot. This information needs specific timing and interpretation. You will get the answers, but the time is not right yet. What they have just given me is the dawning of a new day. So whatever that is, she said, I don't know. And then my friend said, shall I tell you what they are? And she said, well, they're symbols, definitely. So that to me was like confirmation that somehow I've got to be able to release these symbols. And what the light beings told me was they would be released out to the world. But if I haven't managed to interpret it myself through my higher self, they said that they would release it to me, but it hasn't been released yet. Now, it seems quite a long while to me on this earth to be waiting. The symbols came through 1994. Their timing might be different to our timing here. That might be a cop-out. I don't know. But as with a lot of these things, it's always difficult to try and decipher.
What do you think it could mean? I mean, obviously, you don't know what the symbols mean, but why would we be getting symbols? It seems like a little too late, doesn't it?
Well, if I could understand what the symbols meant, it might never be too late. But at the moment, I don't fully understand. I mean, they were the first two, which was to do with the source and creation. And then the third one was descent into matter.
How do you know that if you don't understand the symbols?
Because it came through under regression. I wrote the symbols down under regression, and the light beings had appeared. I said that appeared in the room, and the candle that was standing on the windowsill. I didn't know this because I was in an altered state of consciousness, but the candle flame went about 8 times its height and flared up at the moment I said that the light beings are over there. And they'd come back and released the symbols enough for me to write them down. And I wrote for about 1 hour. And although my biro was upside down because I was laying on my back, the pen carried on writing for this 1 hour. But the actual experience in 1994, I was asleep in the living room on the floor, on a mattress on the floor, and I was in the living room because there was I was getting over a bad back injury. But when I tried to go back to the bedroom, I couldn't go, and every time I tried to get back into bed, I got this incredible sweat. And not a fear, but I could not get back to the bedroom. So I gave up and I went back into the living room and slept on the mattress on the floor. But this particular night I was woken up, like I've been woken up 1,000 times. It was 2:50 in the morning. I was 43 years of age. And I was aware that something was going to happen, and it was very dark, when all of a sudden this golden funnel came through the window. The wider part was inside the window and the smaller part was outside. I was looking at this in complete amazement, wondering what it was and what was going to happen, when all of a sudden hundreds of star-like objects came out of the funnel and danced around the top of the ceiling. And also that came out was numbers, letters and symbols. And they also danced around the top of the ceiling. But then two beings of pure golden light came out of the funnel. And when they were in the funnel, they only looked about 1 foot long. But as soon as they came out into the room, they were about 6 feet 2 inches, but you couldn't see it happen. It was so quick. And it was almost like they were chiseled out of marble. They were pure golden light. And they came and hovered over me. They were male and female energies, and their faces were right next to mine. And I knew at that point that they were going to merge inside me. And when they did, this energy just absolutely burst in through my body. And I gave out this enormous sort of gasp. My heartbeat got faster. Once they were inside or merged into my energy, this white light appeared, and it was the most amazing white light I'd ever seen in my life. And I knew at that moment that I was going to merge into that white light. And at that moment, I felt I wasn't worthy to go into such a place. You know, I'm not a perfect person, but into this light I did go. But once I went into that light with the light beings, I was in complete and utter oneness. It's like there was no inside, there was no outside. It was all just one. And eventually, I became aware that this wasn't all that is. There was something else behind what was holding this oneness together. And what was behind it and holding it all together was purely love. And what it was showing to me was that originally everything came from love. And then I came back out of the light. The golden beings came out of my body and went back through the funnel. And they said to me as they were leaving that all these numbers, letters and symbols, they said it contained the knowledge of the universe, but I don't know about that. And they said it was going to be put into your subconscious mind, and it would be released at some point in the future, either by them or by my higher self. And so then they went back through the funnel, the lights, numbers and symbols went back. Some of the numbers and symbols looked like ancient Hebrew when I saw them in an old book some years later. And then it all disappeared. But, you know, I was reading one of Dolores Cannon's books some years later called The Custodians. And in there she said that it has happened with her, with regressing all these people that have contact, etc. She said it has happened too many times to be coincidence, where she has been regressing people and a golden funnel comes through the window, or if you're outside, it comes down from the sky, and out of that funnel come numbers and letters and symbols and go into the person's subconscious to be released at a future date. Fran done a bit of research on this, and she found that in the ancient Egyptian right eye of Horus, mystery school teachings, it said it involved a mixture of sacred geometry and meditation. And once he, or these days, he or she, had reached a certain level, the initiate might experience the vision of a golden tube from which came numbers and symbols. So I think there is a lot more to it than what I understand.
All right, but throughout this conversation and others, we've been talking primarily about your experience, which is important. But today I'd like to make it relevant to the person who's listening. In other words, how extraordinary that you've had this experience, how extraordinary that you've received this information. But how do you think it's relevant to the fact that we are in, as you say, the final battle? We are looking at either disclosure or a false flag representation of that. And my question to you is, do you, other than acknowledging that this has happened to you, do you feel that there's some relevance to what's going on now? And when you say it's been planted on your subconscious to be used later, well, now would be an excellent time for it to
I totally agree. Now is the time. Now is the time for
Yes.
it. Absolutely. Yes. I mean, disclosure, as I've said, I've studied UFOs and contact for almost 60 years. There's always been the promise of disclosure.
Yes.
And it has to be full disclosure or it's almost pointless.
But the difference is that now, I mean, 15 years ago, Clinton was talking about the possibility of bacterial life in Iraq. And now we have ex-President Obama saying, we know there's something out there, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So, going from full disclosure to the fact that, NASA is producing images, ex-presidents are saying, we know there's life out there. Yesterday, I read that now they have photo-sensitive cameras on Europa, and they've discovered that there are volcanoes in the supposedly frozen planet. Now they're discovering volcanic activity under the ice shield. So it does look like, although we have been screaming for disclosure since way back, and then there's the Steve Bassett group and so many others, it does seem like they're ramping up something. And the question is, are they ramping it up because they're going to present us with a false flag? Or do you think that we are at the point where they can't hold back any longer? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of this as absolute nonsense and PR control just to keep us exactly where they want us to be. They don't want us to know the full truth, because I remember Telos said to me once many, many years ago that knowledge, true knowledge, is power. And they don't want us to find ourselves. They don't want us to know who we really are. They'll give enough information out to make what I would say the 3D mind happy. There's a situation where we are now. If you look in the newspapers and see the controlled TV, exactly where they want to keep us, ignorant.
But
so
do you
I don't.
Think that they're orchestrating? This is, I think, where I'm trying to go here is, do you think they're orchestrating a false flag alien event? Because my theory is this: everybody is all set for the not everybody, but there's a lot of people talking about the possibility that the next thing they're going to pull on us is a false alien attack or takeover or something like that. And I thought, and I'd like to discuss with you, what if instead they design a false alien arrival, the likes of Captain Kirk and Star Trek, Starship Enterprise, that is supposedly benevolent and yet is a body of of beings that come into the earth realm and start to tell us what we need to do to become part of the Federation of United Planets. In other words, a false, nobody's thinking about this, but I'd love to chew on this with you, a false event where instead of the aliens attacking the earth, they present a crew of so-called aliens that come in and set the metronome of what it's going to take for the human race to be part of the galactic community. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, this has been muted for quite some years now about this false flag, and I think what I always say to people is that, you know, as long as the controllers, the elite are in control, you're never going to trust anything they do or say, and it has to come through from your own heart center. You have to be able to distinguish between light and dark. If you've got a landed craft and people come out of that craft, it might be easy to fool some people. Some people might go running towards it, not even thinking that, hang on, are they good?
Are fooled to allow this so-called, you called a flute-like situation, to be jabbed into their arms. It's very likely that a very large percent of people will buy just about anything they're presented. So we who represent, you know, let's say that we are, I don't want to use the word enlightened, but let's say we are aware of other aspects, we very well will be the minority. So where does that take us?
It's a difficult thing, and believe me, Patricia, this goes through my head every single day, and has done for decades. There is no simple answer because there's so much control on this planet. Now, this thing about the finding an amoeba under a rock on some distant moon means that there might be some sort of life, but it's not intelligent. You know, we're the most, to believe that today they are still talking about we're the most intelligent race. It's not possible for life to appear. There's billions of galaxies, for goodness sake, and different levels of dimension and consciousness. And they have the damn right to say that no other intelligent life is out there. I mean, I remember saying about 30 years ago that I think every single planet that comes into being with a purpose. And the purpose of that at some point is to support life. And a lot of that life is highly intelligent, and we're at the bottom of the pack. But they wouldn't dare be able to admit that.
Yeah, I mean,
it annoys me. It annoys because I've been doing this for 60 years and it just hasn't moved on. It makes me feel quite angry. And what's highlighted me with this flu situation, what has surprised me is how many people are so damned easy to control. You can tell them anything. A friend of mine who I go and see is 90 years old, but he's totally 3D. And whenever I try and get something across to him, especially in this present situation, with proof from scientists, etc., you know, not some Joe Bloggs who's working down the road somewhere, and he'll say, well, I haven't read that in The Guardian. I didn't see that on the BBC News. You know, the trouble is with you, Mike, he says, you see conspiracies in everything. And I said, well, that's because there are. There are conspiracies in everything because it's a global control, which is, I mean, could you have believed 15 months ago if someone had said to you in 2 weeks, we can shut this whole world down and get people wearing masks? No, I can't see that happening. Not even me. I can't see that happening.
I know, I didn't see that happening either, at least not so quickly, because I've always considered that all they needed to do was a biological event. And that when I was young, 12 years old, I told my mother, you know, they don't really need nuclear bombs, because when I was 12 years old was the time of the Bay of Pigs and the eventual thermonuclear breakdown of planet Earth. And I just said, you know, Mom, something like that 4-year-old moment about I come from another galaxy. I said, they don't really need nuclear holocaust. She said, well, honey, we don't need nuclear holocaust. No, I said, what I'm trying to say is All they have to do is plant a can of worms, of biological worms, weaponized worms in the middle of New York City.
Mm.
We don't need to destroy the planet. They can do it that way. And I was
I
only
totally
12.
agree.
I was only
I
12
totally.
at the time. So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of not surprised that this is the way that they have, but I'm kind of not surprised that this is the way that it has played out at this great Armageddon moment between darkness and light. But I am surprised at how quickly people gave away their power so immediately, so it's effortlessly. I mean, I think to myself, the dudes that are sitting in the boardroom of evil power must be laughing their asses off.
Absolutely, that's my own words. Absolutely.
Laughing their asses off. Like,
Yeah.
this is so easy. It's boring. I mean, let's ramp it
Yeah.
up or something.
Yeah.
Because they own everything. They own the judicial system. They own the executive system. They own the legislature, the media, the medical, the pharmaceutical. And, humans seem to be mesmerized to the point that if it isn't mind control, I don't know what it is. And when I
Yeah.
speak of that, a lot of the people that are listening here aren't controlled because my audience is awake. Thank God.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
whenever I scream and yell about we've got to try to wake up the rest, people say, Patricia, as it is, my family won't allow me in the house unless I get punctured. And they're not, they've managed to, the power have managed to separate people from their families, turn us off emotionally. The language, I love the language controls. Birth parent is the new word for mother. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, let's
All
not
of
go
this
there.
sterilization,
Yeah.
because the one thing a robotic creature will never have is human emotion. In fact, when some early point when I was channeling the Syrian High Council, I was in a crop circle, and I have my own process when I go into a crop circle of how to experience it and where I want to go. But I just fell onto the crop and sat there in a lotus, and I started to pour out tears. They weren't attached to me at all. I had no personal reason for these tears. It was just a fountain. And I sat there, I was drenched. I just massive tears. And then I started to hear the council say, we need to feel human emotion. We want to know the vastness of the human experience. We want to know human emotion. We need to feel it. And I was like, I'm here to serve that. It was a really powerful moment for me, that one. And I thought, they're taking away the human experience by turning our emotional body into this band of controlled hand, language, experience, feelings, separation. The fact that you're supposed to call your mother. What more beautiful word is there than mother? Your birth parent. And it's just, they're doing a pretty good job of breaking down what the Syrian High Council say, the human emotional, the range. And they say also, the Syrians, that on this whole scope of galaxy, one thing human beings have that is so unique to you is the most extraordinary range of emotion. And
isn't that what they say that the Greys have been trying to get from us with their hybridization?
They have nothing. They don't have a clue what emotion is. They're just, and that's what they're trying to do to humans, to make us, prepare us for the transhumanist agenda, where we just fit right into the little computer.
But that's certainly dehumanizing us.
Yeah.
But I mean, I came here like millions and millions of others that are on the earth at this time to try and wake people up. This is their big moment. And the people don't realize, I feel a bit sad about it, because people don't realize how important these times are now to have this final battle with this dark energy. I mean, there's still a part of me that finds it quite exciting, because I think it's important for us to win this battle to stand up and be aware of who we are, the power that we have. We're much more than just human beings, but people just sit back. I mean, it's difficult. Sometimes I think, well, what is the true percentage of the wakened mind? I don't know what the true percentage is. Is it 25%? I've heard people say it's 8%. But as soon as you walk outside, I mean, most of my journey, you tend to connect with people with an open mind, because otherwise there's nothing to talk about.
Exactly.
Apart from the absolute mundane of Coronation Street or something, there's nothing to talk about. And at UFO conferences, I say, well, here I am again talking to the converted. But how do you get the unconverted to go to a UFO conference? Or how do you get the unconverted to think that it's safe to not wear a mask?
Well, and the thing is that more and more of these people, let's face it, as much as you and I and so many people are screaming and shouting, the numbers of people that are lining up for their death, in my opinion, to get punctured is over the top.
Yeah.
And these government mandates are 100% vaccination. I really don't want to use that word. Puncture.
No.
100% puncturing of the population. Once, twice, and now they've already told us there'll be more, much more coming down the pike.
Well,
So
I literally heard today.
How do we get more people to understand that, besides screaming and yelling? What is it going to take? In other words, if you've got 8% of the people screaming and yelling, save yourself, and 92% lined up, I mean, they're even making tattoos of their puncture. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
This gigantic, the name of the company, the date of the puncture, I got mine, t-shirts, yay, I've got mine. I mean, this is really, really, really a psychodrama.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And
I mean, a friend of mine he gave me a birthday card beginning of May, and he actually put on the front of it. I actually felt quite angry about it, but I didn't say anything. He put on the front of the card, the envelope at the bottom, make me happy, get vaccinated.
Why didn't you say anything?
I didn't want to, because he's old, and if I start to go into anything, he just gets absolutely flustered. His face flushes up, and I don't want him to have a heart attack. Not while I'm there.
Oh dear.
But
this is an emblemic of the problem, because people are afraid to confront people because they're going to disassociate or get angry or get upset or whatever. Meanwhile, people are dropping dead left and right.
Yeah, but you can't tell him anything.
Seen what's going to happen in 6 to 8 months, being predicted by Dr. Tenpenny, and Dolores Cahill and other experts in the field.
Well, I had an email this morning, and it was saying that they are now, certainly in the UK, talking about forcing vaccination. I mean, that's always been on the cards, but I don't think it would happen. But I wouldn't put anything past these people. Truly wouldn't.
That is, I think, the most frightening futuristic thing that I can think of is forcing this, because and then again, they don't seem to have to force because people are begging for it. And then, now they have this shunning. This is the new catchword, shunning. You're supposed to shun. That's the word. I mean, in print, shun anyone who is a conspiracy realist and doesn't want to take their jab. And I think to myself, I've seen so many people go. I've had personally people disconnect with me because of my position on this.
I think we all are. I think they did say some time ago that this will break families and friends apart. It's happened in my life. The only bit of family I've got left don't want to know anymore. Yeah. it's very, very sad. But they're very clever at what they do, these people.
Very clever.
You know, and you've got to give them credit for that. To think
So-
what they've done.
So where, people are asking, so where is the light being force? At what point do we, obviously this is a rhetorical question because I don't have an answer. Where we know that there is a non-interventionism clause in the universal galactic picture, and that if we can't save ourselves, there really shouldn't be anyone coming to save us. We got to get rid of that idea of powerlessness. Come save us, please, Jesus. Come save us, the Messiah. Come save us, the good aliens. That we have to do this. But surely these symbols, for example, surely it's time for some things to be revealed, and we can use still to save ourselves. But for God's sakes, can we have some tools here? Because it seems like the dark side is lined up with every possible tool, money, technique, power system, whatever. And the light forces are like, we have to get organized. We have to speak out, but we don't seem to have enough tools. Do you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And what you've just said to me, I'm asking myself every single day, surely it's time now. Surely they've got to, perhaps have they left it too late? Why didn't they get involved a bit earlier?
Yeah.
Before it was all cemented more fully into place, because it was bad enough before, but it's even worse now. When on earth are they going to interfere or make their mark? I don't know. I'm the same as you. I don't know. It annoys me that you're down here, right? You've chose to come here. You're right in the thick of it, but you're always kept not fully informed.
Yeah, it's like,
And
okay,
I don't
I agreed to
understand
come
that.
here and serve the light, and I've been doing that all my life. And many people who are listening to this are in the same boat and feel the same way. We came here, we're starseed, we came here to do what we could. But, we don't seem to have, at this stage in this great battle, enough tools to combat this all-encompassing dark force. And my question is, at what point do the rules of non-interventionism no longer apply? We know that
Well, I think that's
the
gone.
satellites that they're putting up are weaponized. And the Syrian High Council said, as long as you're destroying yourselves, we can't intervene. But at the moment when you turn those devices out, then it's open territory, because we will not allow you to destroy anything beyond your realm. Well, we're ready to do that, aren't we?
Yeah. Do you know, listening to you and all that you're saying today, I find very comforting, because it's not just me that's thinking about this and saying it to myself every single day. I mean, I would have at one time, yes, you could have said, well, as far as the off-welders, the good off-welders, well, we have to live by karma. Now, going back 30, 40 years, you could think, well, yeah, that's fair enough. I can understand that. You can't just impose yourself onto a planet, perhaps unless more people would agree to want it, to be sorted out. But now it's a totally different ball game, and I think the karma thing has gone totally out the window. You can put that in another carrier bag somewhere, because it's got to be more serious now. The crimes that they are committing, not just with the flu, but with children and everything else that's going on, that's far more serious now. They've overstepped their mark by a long, long way.
Yeah, I mean, every universal, if there is, and you and I agree, a universal law, and we started out this conversation where you were talking about these beings come from pure love, okay? If there is that, and let me preface this by saying, I ask questions that'll make a lot of people uncomfortable, because people want to stay in that we have to trust the universe mode. We have to trust the love and light mode. Or you've got the extreme alternative people that are constantly talking about the reptilians and everything unbearable. But, you know, I asked the question that's uncomfortable, and I'm glad that you're open to discussing it and feel the same way, which is, when are we going to be given some support here? We're not asking to be saved. We're asking for some support. Where is the light force, the light brigade, when
Yeah.
an entire planet is being consumed?
Mm.
Because it's not just the human beings either. It's the animals, it's the earth, the water is being consumed by this dark force. Deliberate poisoning of all the beings on the planet. Does this not count as the laws of non-interventionism are no longer valid?
Yeah, I totally agree with all that you're saying. I say to people, look, don't just dwell on the dark stuff. Remain in the light, but you do need to have the knowledge of what is going on. You know, yes, there are reptilians, there are insectoids, there are all these other things.
Sure.
They are here, they're dark, you know, they're of no use to us whatsoever. But don't dwell on it. Remain in the light, in your heart center, but have the knowledge of both sides. Now, I've had great faith my whole life because of the way my life has run, similar to yours, that we will win this battle. And I still believe that we will win this battle, because that's why we're here. And I know we're going to win. And this experience that I had about this dark mass energy, I know we're going to win. But it doesn't stop me asking every single day, well, come on, you know, I think we need to start it sometime soon. We've got to really get on with this now. As I say, karma's, you know, the karmic bag's gone. They've overstepped their mark. And like you said, we're quite prepared to do the work ourselves with some help. We're not expecting them to just come here and sort our lives out for us. There's many of us here that are battling against this dark energy, and one of those weapons that we have is to try and wake people's minds up.
We need some tools, though. I mean,
yeah,
look,
exactly.
I look at what I don't believe it's 23% awakened people. I think we're more under the 10%, and
8%.
A lot of us, you know, we don't have big money. We don't have, you know, and money being, insofar as it creates the power to use voice, to get media, to get whatever it takes. Most of us, our spiritual people, aren't in that place of big, huge money that we can influence people through the vehicles that money can afford. And it's just like trying to, like my show and others, and trying to get the voice out, and watching these, you know, people like robots lining up, fighting over who gets the next place in line to be destroyed. And I just feel like, you know, we need a win here. We need proof, something that breaks through, that can be so mind-blowing to these people that they stop. And I don't know if our voice is loud enough, because by the time we get as much as we can said, a whole bunch of people are going to be either dead or completely reorganized in their DNA. Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, we are living in some sort of war zone, whether it's a spiritual war zone or whatever the battle is, this battle of light over dark, which it certainly is. But like you said, it's not just about us. Like you said, it's about the animals, it's about the plant kingdom, it's about the air, the sea, the water, the rivers, Gaia herself. It's about all this. And we are all in tune. Our 8% and all of nature is in tune.
That's right.
With moving into the higher frequency. It's ready and waiting to move into the higher frequency. It will have no problem. A lot of humans will, of course. But I've often sat in meditation, and I've tried to get in touch with not just Telos, but the beings of light, the good off-worlders, etc. And I say to them, look, just give me some up-to-date information. Just give me some real good information about where are we in this position now on this planet.
And where are you?
And where are you? Exactly. And I'll go out and talk to the people. It's not a problem. You know, but I need to know, because they're not telling us, and I can't pick it up unconsciously exactly where they are. But I still retain my faith, and it hasn't wilted yet, but the more it goes on, the more I'm going to question it.
Oh, yeah, because the thing is that, okay, so there are channels, there are supposed channels, there are complete con artists. We've got a plethora of people calling themselves representatives of these beings. But what about a little appearance? Something that we can take forward.
Yeah.
Like, not unlike the radio, that fabulous piece of audio that you gave us, that you, in part 2, you read the radio interference, and that has been poo-pooed and whatever, but I think that was a very valid example of.
It was.
But, you know, how long ago was that? 30 years ago?
1977.
Even longer, almost 45 years ago.
23,
Where are you?
Yeah.
What happened? And, you know, I hate to think that, I'm just being the devil's advocate here, that these beings have just decided, well, you know what? Earth is a lost cause. I am being playful here because I cannot believe for a minute, especially with all the work I've done in my life, that that's the case. But it sure is time to get something concrete going, is I guess my point. Something where, instead of getting messages from the Syrian High Council or you from Taylor, where, you know, there's an appearance, there is something that is so immense and so positive, so huge, that we, the speakers of what we believe is truth, have something to draw from that can influence an entire global population. Something so undeniable needs to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to sit, if I was going to give a talk somewhere, I used to sit in meditation, and I used to say to Telos, look, I tell you what would be great. You know, I can do me a bit of talking, and then I can say, well, you know, is it being filmed? Yes, it's being filmed. Right, well, Telos is here, and he's now going to materialize on stage, and he's going to have a few words with you. Or even if I managed to get onto a TV program where it was me against 3 or 4 scientists that have been placed there to make me look like an idiot. And then you suddenly say, right, well, okay, would you like to meet one of these guys? And one of them materializes, scares the pants off them, the whole world sees it. How great would that be? So why doesn't it happen?
That's my question. I'm glad we're asked. I really am thrilled that we are discussing this, because like you said, I don't have very many people I can have this conversation with, and neither do I. And I want to poke it until I get some sort of satisfaction to an answer to this. Because again, the non-intervention, I get it. The fact that we have to do it ourselves, I get that too. The question is, at what point do we, not even necessarily extra dimensional beings, how about ETs that are of the galactic community, good, let's call them good ETs, that are seeing Earth as a dangerous predator without even understanding? Let's say they don't even understand the human race and what we're going through here, but they see that the planet is encased in weaponized satellites and God knows what else. You know?
I do know. And I'm not too sure what the answer is. Telos told me many years ago that if we want to destroy ourselves, he said, we can, because we have free will. Well, that's not that doesn't work with me too much when I think of all the innocent people on the earth. That there might be free will, but you don't have much say in it because we're controlled. But he said, but we will not let them destroy the earth. Well, they're doing a damn good job at destroying it at the moment. All levels of consciousness.
The same thing. The same thing. If you
and all we want some backup
to destroy yourselves. Well, of course, there's a small factor of, you know, who's behind the destruction of the human race anyway. Are we completely responsible for this destruction? I don't think so. I think there's a lot more going on than that. But let's say, for the sake of argument, okay, if you're willing to destroy yourselves through hate and ignorance and being blind servants to the powers that be, we can't do anything about it. But we won't allow the Earth to become a hostile participant in the galactic sphere. So they never really said, we won't let you destroy the Earth, because you can't destroy the Earth. Even if they blow the planet up in thermonuclear holocaust, little pieces of Earth will go on to recreate new planets, and life will continue. But at the point where the Earth is becoming a hostile participant in the solar system and beyond, surely they should be intervening.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And if it's not to intervene, by the way, necessarily to save us, but intervening to say, look, the same words, if you want to self-destruct, it's one thing, but we're not going to allow you to destroy the universe or your immediate surroundings in the galactic field. There needs to be something. It's time. We need, as I said, I'm not looking for a savior, but I would love to have some tools to work with. Like you said, Talos appearing, of course, they would have marked that off to gimmickry. Gimmick. What's the word?
Gimmicky?
You've lost the word gimmicky to being a gimmick.
The gimmick.
But yeah, we're ready. We need help down here. And I've always been the one to say, we can't expect anybody to come and fix us. We have to fix ourselves. But it doesn't seem to be working very well. We need help.
We need help
on planet Earth.
I agree. I mean, I've spent so many years I like to try and give people a positive message. I like to try and give people hope in their lives. But at the end of the day, like we're saying now, as a part of me, I don't often reveal, and I'm quite angry about not having this. We just want some backup.
That's right.
To help us sort this out.
Some backup, because here we are, we're doing our job as the front runners, the frontline warriors. And it's like, behind me is 97% of the population lining up for their shot, getting tattoos on how proud they are, cutting themselves off from everyone that doesn't fall into line. And it's like, where are the troops here?
Yeah.
And
now, look,
too.
a lot of the books that you have done, which are brilliant, a lot of those have a very spiritual, positive message.
Absolutely.
From the Syrians.
Absolutely.
So what are they not saying anything to you now about the situation?
No, I mean, my last channeled book was in 2017, and I haven't been channeling a new book for now. And you know, the times that I do connect with them are sort of the same rhetoric. It's like, you know, this is what we called the desert days. You are in the desert days. You will be valiant in your passing from these desert days onto the horizon. And, you know, be vigilant. I'm like, great. That's
what
good.
is the purpose? What is the purpose
of
us coming here?
Maybe we underestimate how strong we are. And also maybe this is, in fact, the moment where we're going to see the separation of those that are ascending out of here and those that are going to be dragged down into 2D or lower. I don't have an opinion about that. So maybe that is something that we should look at, is the reality that it isn't meant to be that the whole planet is saved. Perhaps
I
it's just,
agree.
okay, maybe these people need to keep going through whatever it is they have to go through while others are able to move on. But I hate that. I hate the idea that we've got a Judeo-Christian concept going on here. The good ascend and go to heaven, the bad descend and go to some alien Transylvania. And, I want it to be more universal, that the human race grows, not just that some people who have achieved some spiritual prowess are allowed to go higher. What is your thought about that? And that, I know, because you've read a lot of Dolores Cannon, you know a lot about her. Surely you know about her concept of the two earths.
Yes, I do. Yes. Back in about 1983, when I worked at a spiritual healing home that done healing through past life regression, I gave a talk there then, and I said that I talked about ascension then, but ascension in the sense of in the mind, where you're raising your own frequency. So anyone can do it. If you want to, you can either remain ignorant or, you've got to work at it. It doesn't just happen. You don't get instant enlightenment. But what I said was that the beauty of this, I don't like the word ascension, but we'll use it. No.
It's been overused.
Yeah. But the beauty of this frequency change is that that's how we separate from each other. We will go to our own frequency level.
Yeah.
And I was told decades ago that when this event was going to happen, which it is now, we're right in the middle of it, that the really dark energy will go to a very dark place where they're going to have to start to try and undo all this on their way towards the light, because I think that's the only true way to go, is to the higher frequency of where love and compassion, etc., is the main tool that we work with. And you can have a far better relationship with all life, whatever it is, even a daisy in a field, if you want to, if you're using love, because it's all here having an opportunity to live and grow, and it should all be respected. Now, perhaps people on that frequency will eventually go to that place, and the dark will go somewhere else, and the ones in the middle have a choice. I try and hold on to these things, and I do have great faith that light will win this battle. But as I say, there is a part of me that I don't often express, but we have touched upon it today.
Well, we're being real.
Where the flipping heck are they? Come on, it's time. It's time now. I'm putting myself through it down here, as are thousands of others. I mean, for 60 years, you've been laughed at, poked fun at, and you go on TV and you get caught by people that are lining up to ask you to prove something that you can't prove. So therefore, you're living in some sort of fairyland. The same in the newspapers, they're all there to set you up. I used to wade through the whole lot and just carry on, because that was my duty, to try and get this out. If I could wake one person up and make myself look an idiot, it was worthwhile. But as I get older, I think, well, I don't want to keep setting myself up like this now. It's about time we had something that really could prove to these people. You've got to shake them awake. You can't just give them a few simple words. Now, some of them won't like it. Some of them might even have a heart attack. But you've got to shake them awake to this real reality.
Especially when, at a time, like, I agree with you. I've spent my whole life being called a conspiracy theorist as well, and ridiculed and Also respected, though. I'm not going to be a victim here. But at this point, when you're watching, I mean, not unlike Germany, where they were marching into the ovens, you're watching people march into these places where they're getting the jab.
Yeah.
And thinking, this is the apex of all of it, because it's not just about personally looking ridiculous, being depicted as being ridiculous. This is like, if you do not conform, we will first shun you, and then we will force you, and then we will kill you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's on the cards if something isn't done, because they're not going to give up.
Me either. And so the question is, could we have, like you said, what did you say? Where the freaking are you? I love it.
Where the flipping heck are you?
Where the flipping heck are you?
That's it.
I love
that's
it.
Cockney. That's London. You're talking London now. Cockney.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, I should probably put that on as the title of this.
Yeah, excellent.
What the flipping heck are you?
That's your next book. You got the title for your next book.
So let's say that we are making an appeal to the light forces, to people who are dedicated starseed, who have been fighting for truth and light and love and bringing awareness to the human population of which we are too. What the flipping heck are you? Come on in, give us some backup here, and show yourselves. The time is upon us that, the people that are in line getting ready to be destroyed, see the universe, see the earth realm shift into some other dimension, see beings of light appear, more than craft, because they can, and that's what I was talking about earlier in the conversation. They can orchestrate that. They've got the craft. We all know that. We don't have to go into Area 5-1. They can put on a show. They can do holograms. They can change what you're saying. It is la la land on planet Earth. But one thing that is, I believe, cannot be faked is arrival of some extraordinary light beings who come to help us, first of all, not to save us, but to, like you said, some backup would be nice. This is what we're talking about here. There is light in the universe. There are beings concerned with planet Earth and the well-being of all living species on this planet. And give us that help.
I see it all the time. And you'd think it can't be that difficult. There's enough of them out there to be able to do something.
So why do you think they're not?
I don't know. This is why I'm getting frustrated with it. But I still remain with my faith that has never altered throughout my entire life. But I don't even think at this moment in time I'm too concerned, but I'm starting to wonder why it wasn't done perhaps 4 or 5 years ago, or even earlier than that, because they've been talking about it for a long while.
Well, it certainly would have been a great time to do it when Trump was in the White House.
Yeah, I still can't quite work that one out at the moment.
Me either.
No.
I just don't know what to think about it anymore. It's just the illusion level is so deep and so vast that I don't trust anything I'm hearing or seeing anymore.
No.
I'm always looking through it thinking, was that really what it was presented to be?
But they're very clever with their disinformation. It does your head in. And I think that's what they do try and do. They make you so tired, so mixed up. And this is what I might have mentioned in the first session we had, that with ufology, so many good, true ufologists fell away because they couldn't deal with all the disinformation anymore. You hear one thing, and then you hear another thing, and then you find out, well, that thing you got really excited about 2 weeks ago, did I tell you that's not true? That's fake. And they just get fed up with it. And then they think, well, I'll just get on with my life. I mean, I'm not one of those people because I can't change. I'm a light bringer and I want to wake people up. I can't be any different. I simply can't. And
No,
you're the same.
I'm the same, and I'll be screaming from the mountaintops until it's my time to.
Yeah, flipping heck, where are you? From the mountaintop.
That's great. I love it. Flipping heck. I love English dialect.
Yeah, so do I. Well, it's interesting. Yeah. I don't understand myself sometimes. So
Why can't the English teach the children how to speak?
sense of really,
Well, it's nice to start to wrap up here with a little levity, because we've talked about some very deep questions that some people are asking themselves, but they don't want to verbalize.
Yeah, we've got no answers, but we're asking lots of questions.
And that's so important, because in a world of controlled thinking and media and all the sources people have for information, we can't stop asking the questions that are uncomfortable.
Must never stop.
Right?
Absolutely.
And one of the questions that is, I mean, we won't even talk about the 90% who are just not even going to listen to anything you have to say whatsoever. But even in our communities, there are questions that make people uncomfortable. One of them is, are we sure Trump was a white hat? Another one of them is, why did he promote the vax, which is something I'm not letting go of. And even though I was a supporter. And the next one is, if there are light workers, or sorry, if there are light beings paying attention, as we believe they are, to this planet, where the flipping heck are they?
Now, this is what we should perhaps have as the final thing to end this show, you know, where we should say to everybody that's listening, get in touch with them, put your thoughts out there. We want you to come in now and back us up and help us.
That's a great idea. So let's do that. So just listen, everybody, close your eyes for a minute and just get out of your private connection idea that you are a channel or a source or whatever. And just imagine all of us calling out to the light beings of the universe and all those civilized ET nations, 3D or other, that are working for the highest good of all concerned and for love. And we call out and we ask only this. We are not asking to be saved. We're just asking for help, assistance, tools. Surely you can bring something down to help us. The time is now. Let it be heard throughout the universe. The time is now to bring light assistance in every way imaginable to the forces of light on planet Earth. Aho, Great Spirit.
I think that's excellent. That's powerful. And it is certainly needed at this time. And your show is as good as anyone's to get this out to many, many people.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. All right, let's see what we manifest from this moment. And let's see if anybody got any miracles going down. Be sure to bring them over for me and for Mike to chew on, because we want to know where the flipping heck
are you.
Are.
Yeah, where the flipping heck are you? Yeah.
Mike, it's a delight. I'm so glad we got into this level of conversation, because like you said, you know, this beautiful balance between, you know, keeping your faith, knowing the light wins, knowing it at the absolute core, but never being able to really talk about this question. Where is the help? Now is a time for it to arrive. So
it's bang on. It's bang on what we've just been. I had no idea we were going to go here, because I don't often express myself in this way, but the time's right. It's bang on.
It's wonderful that we went here, because it will surely empower other people who are afraid to ask that question, because it means that they're not trusting. You know what I'm saying? There are people in that energy that, God forbid, they question anything and then think, wait a minute, I've just got to stay in trust. I know the universe has a plan. And sometimes when I put questions out to people, they say, you just got to trust the universe, trust the plan. I don't trust the plan. I don't believe in plans. I want more information. And as far as the universal galactic plan, well, show yourself. Because if there is a plan, and the plan is that the light wins, we could show you some flipping help down here on the planet. And that's all we're asking for is some help. So we know how to do the saving. We know how to do the healing. Let's just have some tools, more tools for the spirit warriors of planet Earth.
And when I next see you, I want to hear a really good Cockney accent. So practice it now.
I will.
Brilliant.
I can do it.
Flipping heck, I know you can.
Flipping heck, I can do it.
You got it.
I'm doing.
You're the only one on. You're the only one on your island, probably, that can talk Cockney.
And I also love the Liverpudlian singing song language. Ham and eggs. Look at the ham and eggs on that one. Love that too. Oh, Britain is such a rich culture. Don't let it be destroyed by the maniacs in power.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Mike, I'm gonna let you go now, and next time we will dive back into who knows what. But be glad that we went in this direction, because I think a lot of people need to hear this and feel it, and feel the power in the honesty, the integrity of being able to ask those uncomfortable questions.
The time was now.
We don't have to have the answers, but we must have the questions. Otherwise, we're just buying into the plasma. And one plasma is line up and get it because the universe, the government is taking care of you. And the other one is don't ask those questions because there's a universal galactic plan. It's like, damn it. I'm asking and pushing because that's what I do. That's what a light worker needs to do. Don't accept plasma of thought. Push past it.
We've got a right to ask.
We do. We've got a flipping right.
Flipping right. Hey, it's good. Yeah, flipping right. We've got a flipping right to ask. We have.
All right, everybody. We've been talking with the wonderful Mike Oram. He is clearly my soul brother. And we've had another very dynamic conversation, and we'll have him back soon. And once again, thank you for being patient while I recovered from my mishaps. And as you can see, my energy is back. If you'd seen me a couple of days ago, you would have thought, uh-oh, what about Patricia? I was great. But you can't keep star worker long down.
You can't keep a good girl down. Yeah.
Back. All right, thanks everybody. And by the way, don't forget to check out my site, patriciacori.com. Check out Mike, where can people reach you?
In otherdimensions.com, or I could give you you could probably find my email on there.
Yeah, inotherdimensions.com, and I'll put that information on the text and a little bio on Mike, and we'll see you the next time. Thanks for watching. This is Patricia Cori.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.